Hey y'all, I'm Briscoe Diggs and welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Today we shine the artist spotlight on an author, a motivational speaker, hairstylist extraordinaire, one of my dearest friends, my housemate, Miss Garland Guidry. Welcome, Garland. Thank you for being here.
Hi. Thank you for having me again.
Again, this is amazing. You know, the reason why I brought you back is I have noticed in the past year and a half or so, you've been blossoming. You've been doing so much. We're going to talk about your book and what you're doing with your book right now. But I just wanted to bring you on to show the world a person who has not given up on the progress that she's making and bringing along others that are open-minded and willing to open their hearts to it. So welcome, Garland. And so let me get to it. What's life been like for you in the past year and a half? I know it's a lot, but just give us a little bit of idea of what you've been going through and your journey so far during this the pandemic years.
Well, I think we actually did this last interview. Was it the spring or early summer?
It was right before the pandemic, so we were
Okay, had to be like in March, April. Well, it's funny because in that spring I was scheduled to have a breast augmentation surgery, and so I had to cancel it until July. So that's a new progress here, that the chest is a little bit more voluminous. The chest is volumized. As you can see, I'm showing the girls off the next day. So that's one thing that transpired amongst all the many mental, emotional, and spiritual transformations. One of which was just trusting more. Trusting God, the universe, whatever anyone calls it, that source energy that, you know, moves upon this earth. Like I just learned to trust that more and trust the progress, or trust the process. And so that led me to getting on this app called Clubhouse. A friend of mine, Ronnie Crowell, or a friend of ours, Ronnie Crowell had introduced me to Clubhouse. And I remember him saying, I asked him, well, what is this club? What is this all about? What is this new app? I'm like, you know, I'm getting into that age range now where it's like, okay, what, you know, the new things are coming out. What is so different about this one? And you know how he is. He said something to me like, oh, it's the place for all the cool kids. And I was thinking, well, I've never been that type of person to be like going where the cool kids are. So, you know,
you
anyway,
are the cool kid, and they gravitate towards me.
You know what? And it's true. It's actually true. And that's why I was like, oh, if the cool kids aren't with me, then how cool can they be?
It's true.
So he said to me, he said, I didn't join, but he sent me a reminder.
Okay.
And then one night I was like, this was in the beginning of this year. I said to myself, okay, I'm going to just join and see what's going on. Quickly clicked on all the buttons to, you know, just to get in. And then I started going into these rooms. Then they were like live podcasts. And I was immediately intrigued because you can, you know, each space in the hallway that they call, there's different, and in the, you can click on that space, like say it's about motivational speaking, and there's other people in there learning about motivational speaking or giving a motivational speech. And so I went in those rooms and I realized also that I could be on stage. So they have, it's like a panel.
Okay.
So they'll have moderators and they have people from the audience that can raise their hand. There's a button you click on, it's a hand button, and you'll be invited to come speak on stage. And so I started doing that. And each room, you know, every time you followed someone, it would lead you to going to different rooms that they were attending. And so You know, if you felt like they were someone who would be, you know, going into these rooms that you would be interested in, and you just followed them.
Okay.
And so it was leading me to different subject matters that were very triggering for me, like, you know, talking about Black Lives Matter, or talking about abuse, you know, and I would go into these spaces and I didn't realize I had so many buttons that could be put and cause me to ask the question, like, why is this triggering me? Why does this make me feel with this negative energy in me? But then you know, these rooms, I was going in a lot of spiritual rooms, which helped me to understand that these triggers mean that there's some things within yourself that haven't been dealt with.
Right.
And so I started doing more work as every time a button was pushed, which was quite often.
Right.
I was like, what's wrong? I'm like an angry person. I didn't even realize that I'm so angry. And so, you know, and then so I just started, I started looking at myself deeper. And then I was led to, let me rewind.
Okay.
At the end of 20, gosh, it's time by so fast. We're 2021 now, right? So at the end of 2019, I quit my job. So that's another new something. Yeah. I quit my job. No, I started working from home. I'm a hairstylist, and I moved my business to.
You only just said that so lightly. You're a hairstylist. She is amazing. I know you don't want to blow your own horn, but yeah, I'm gonna let you keep talking. But you're, Black people, white people, bald hair, coming out with hair. I don't know what you do. I'm just exaggerating, but no, seriously, I'm amazed by your art. Not to talk about the other part that that comes along with what you do, but go ahead, Garland. But yeah, your art is amazing. You do some hair. Look at your hair.
No, okay, thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I think when I'm just getting into the space now where, like, hearing you say that, like, doesn't feel odd to me, because you're absolutely right. I'm more like a hairstylist extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire.
Like a prodigy.
Yes.
Right?
I see it every damn time. I mean, and it's not like some women come in here looking woo, and she'll do it like a miracle. And some women, they know, like, you have certain clients that you have the regulars, and whoa, something happened. We lost it. Hold on a minute. What happened? Where did you go?
I'm here.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened there. But the screen went blank, and this is live. We're not editing. I guess it was a great time for Miller to make his noise. Anyway, leave it to the cat to shit all over your progress. I have a special animal here, y'all. We're gonna get back to our guest. The screen went white. The cat is doing his thing, and so we're not editing either, because we want people to know things like this happen, and we can go along with the punches. We can go along with it. Anyway, let's get back to you, Garland. Yes, I knew you did hair. I knew you were great, but I did not realize until you came into your own space and started to do it. And so you can go from there. Maybe, was it a growing? I'll let you go. I'm not gonna put words in your mouth, because the real talk is supposed to come from you. But yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a little different with this guest because we live together, so I don't mind.
I know, right? You're blah, blah, blah.
Some of the blanks.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that where I've grown to is that I can listen to you fill in the blanks, and it resonates with me with what you're saying, because everybody can see us in a way that we can't see ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
There's this mirror image of ourselves. Look in the mirror, you're right. And when we look in the mirror, like, when we look at ourselves, like, are we really seeing ourselves the way someone else sees us? And it's not. It's just not. That is not how it works. That is not how our each person's eyeballs work. The reflections are different. Like it's kind of like when you. I don't want to go too far into this, but like, So you have a little blemish on your face or something, and you're talking to somebody. He's like, "Oh my God, don't look at this blemish," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even see it until you said that."
Yes, and I always do it to myself. So yeah, and yeah.
So we don't see ourselves the way others
Absolutely.
Things that we're conscious about or about with ourselves. Somebody else is not looking at that. So yeah, so I have grown to this space of understanding my craft and how I work, right. And that it's a magical. I like to say it's not just a haircut or a hairstyle or a hair color circumstance or situation. It's also an experience. So
and I've witnessed your experiences, and I could say that's definitely what it is. It's like they say in the '60s, it's a happening. When you go to Garland's, you get the happening. You get not only the outside of your head done, but the inside of your head and your heart taken care of. Absolutely. I see it every time, even with short haircuts. You know, like they're coming in for a short period. They always leave here with something extra.
In or out.
Yes.
In or out of my business. And I actually had that name years ago, and it just came to my heart that I needed to use it again because I've stayed true to that.
Well, say it again, because we say the word again. Say the title again.
Inner Outer Beauty.
Inner Outer Beauty. Check that out, y'all. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so true.
And so I quit my job at the end of 2020. And so I stepped into 2021 being in my business again, the first time that I've done that. And so I was led on Clubhouse one day to a room that completely changed my life. And it's called the Money Consciousness Club.
Oh, yeah.
Not realizing that I needed this room to figure out how to manage my money and how to increase my money. And so this space allows me to reach back. So it's called the Money Consciousness Club, Heal Your Money Story. And so what I was able to do was to get on stage and tell everything about my dysfunctional experience or relationship with money. And it was the most cathartic experience of my life, like to really look back and not even understand we do have a relationship with money. Money is really what makes the world go round currently. And all have some type of relationship with money. And I didn't even realize there was a relationship at all until I stepped into this space. And I realized that I had a dysfunctional relationship with money, and that come from some generational patterns that have been handed down to me.
Right. Okay.
So not only did I need this room to help me progress in my business this time as a sole proprietor, but I also had the chance to let go of a lot of traumas, because what I realized was that my self-worth meter was all over the place. It's like, I describe it like this, like I'm worthy for this, but I'm not worthy for that. I'm worthy for that, this. And so it's been broken. My self-worth meter was broken, but I've always been able to walk around and pretend like I was in my sovereignty. But, people thought that because people are visual, like, right. Oh, you look great and you talk and you walk the walk. But in the meantime, I'm like going home and I'm like, I'm broken. I'm broken. And people don't recognize that because people usually never see past the exterior.
Right. It's so true. Oh, you froze. Oh, you look pretty.
COVID, right? COVID. This COVID and quarantine, it's caused an awakening. I believe that it's caused a global awakening, and there's still people who are resisting this transformation of awareness. But there are a lot of people who are understanding now after having this, you know, huge pandemic and break. It's opened people's minds to like, there's got to be more to my life than this.
Right. Oh my God.
And so,
so true.
Yeah. So this room really helped to set me on a journey of raising my awareness and making more decisions based on what feels right to me. Like I learned that the energy or the frequency of our feelings matter. And so when you're not feeling good, all you're going to do is draw other things that don't feel, that's going to make you continuously not feel good.
Right.
You know, like when
you're
upset and then you bump your toe, you bump your little toe, and then you're like screaming and you're cursing. And then you go in the kitchen and you try to make your coffee and you spill the coffee grinds all over the place and format. It's like an avalanche. So imagine if when we are in a good space, like what we don't realize is that also when we're in a good space, that everything flows that's good, and everything comes to us that makes us feel good. But the thing is that our emotions are always all over the place. And we don't understand, we haven't learned how to immediately take those thoughts if we wake up and we feel like, you know, they say, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. No, you didn't. You did not wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You woke up with some feelings that you probably went to sleep with already.
Oh, wow.
And then you got up with that feeling. You never let it go. And so we haven't learned that, like, okay, today I don't feel good, but it's not a bad day.
Right. Garland.
They didn't do anything to you.
No, it's so true that we blame other things, outside forces, or outside elements, and it's like, no, it's not. How can you blame a day? It's a bad day. Wow. Wow. She does this to me a lot. And I know I'm very, animated kind of person, but seriously, I take what you say very seriously. I always have since I met you. We joke around a lot, but Garland has I'm not gonna get into very deep details about stuff, but Garland has helped me get onto the right path. Garland, just by being her and by not saying the word sometimes, by just giving me a look. Like, and it helps. And it's also, I was going through a thing, right? Allergic to alcohol, drinking by myself, don't know what I'm like. Miss Garland brought it to my attention, and it was one of the best things, probably the best thing that happened to me in this pandemic time period, that I realized, hey, it's not so bad to admit you have a problem or a problem that could be occurring when your friend or someone who is intuitive, first of all, tells you something, you go for it, you listen to it. And that's what I'm going to say about you. You're very intuitive. And I listen to a lot of the conversation. I'm not like eavesdropping, but I'll catch a little bit here and there when you're talking to your clients. And it's kind of scary in a good way, how you can tap into someone's thing, whatever their thing is. You seem to be able to, where did that come from? How did you get to, I know that I know you, like you said earlier, you're not perfect, you have your things, you're growing and everything else, but how it seems like you can do all that growing yourself, but also help others with just a phrase or so back to my question, how did this, were you always like this as a young person? Were you always this intuitive or to others' feelings?
That's a very good question because, and first of all, I like to say that we're all perfect, actually. We were created in perfection. And so what I is to use my words differently, right? Like we're perfectly flawed human beings. Like we weren't created to not. Someone told us that there were things that were good and bad and flawed or evil and good, but all of it is. We'll place labels on that to categorize us and to make us feel unworthy.
Right.
The truth is that we're perfectly, we're wonderfully made, we're perfectly made. And so there's no mistake. There was no mistake, can make no mistakes. all it is the experiences that we have, right?
Right.
And so some experiences feel better than others. That's all it is. It's not not right or wrong, good or bad.
Right.
So I'm in that space now, and I'm actually gonna have to listen to my previous interview, even myself.
Okay.
So I see the difference in between the way I'm speaking.
Right.
Oh my God, I am not the same person that I
No.
was. Like it's like a 360
Right.
on
Right.
who I am. So, but to answer your question, excuse me, when I was a kid, I described this in a podcast interview that I was in, that I feel like I came in this earth, in this body, like knowing that I'm here, like connected to my body, and understanding being aware that this is where I wanted to be. Like I never felt disconnected from my spirit being in this human body.
Mm.
And with that, I believe gave me this heightened awareness of everything around me and people and their feelings, and what people thought. And so I remember that I would always, I would say things that I didn't know that someone else wouldn't be aware of me knowing. Right? Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
talking, like, and I would be saying something to them, and they're like, well, how did you know that? Like, how do you know that about me? Right? People taking offense, like, what, why are you saying this? They didn't even tell me. We've never had a conversation about me knowing that about you. Somehow I was able to tap into that. But I was telling a friend today that I've never been someone who's been resistant to how I feel or emotions. I was always very aware of those as well. And so so I've always been flexible. I've always been very open to allowing myself to be and just to keep becoming. And I was fortunate to have parents that allowed me to be myself and to just like develop in however I was going to develop here on planet Earth. And so I was blessed in that way. I was always blessed in a way too. I was blessed in the fact that I've never been, molested or, I've never been abused. Like, and I have so many friends whose bodies have been taken advantage of, without their permission. Right. This causes us that never fully goes away, right?
No, never.
And so that defines like all of your behavior and how you react and respond to the world, to people. And so I've been fortunate to be free of that. So I think as I'm talking this out, I'm actually like, this is a new revelation to me. And I think that because I was privileged enough to not have those blockages, that I was able to really flow into my true self.
Right.
And so my intuition was something that was not triggered by trauma.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Like a lot of people who have been, a lot of people have been traumatized, but I mean, we could say, I'm going to point the finger at you.
Okay, go ahead.
Is that I come home and then you have the house locked up, right? The house is locked up like a prison, right? Like when you're here by yourself, you're locked in like prison, because that's a lot of trauma.
Yes.
Like everything we do is based our right. And then, but I come in and I want the door open. I want to roll down the windows. I want to open the curtains. I want, and so little things like that tell us about who we are. That's why one of the things that I know that I've learned this year was that our self-worth, if our self-worth is low, that we are going to, every decision that we make is going to be based on where our self-worth meter is, right? So if our self-worth meter is low, everything that we allow to happen to ourselves everything we do, how we, you know, I bought the butter. I use this example. Like I bought the no name butter when I really like the Land O'Lakes butter, right? It's like, I'm going to get the cheaper one because I don't feel like my value is good enough to have the butter that I want. Right. Think about the scarcity, right? Scarcity mindsets will always make you deal from the bottom. And there's no other way around it. And so my intuition, back to that. So my intuition was cultivated from the start. Like it was just something that I knew, and it was not anything that I was afraid of. It was just like me having a conversation with you right now, my knowing of things to come or what's happening, what the consequences will be for something that you're doing right now. Like it's just as easy for me to have those feelings and to articulate them as easy as it is for me to, you know, get up and go brush my teeth. And so I never had anyone to help me to develop that. And so I feel like one of my mentors used to tell me all the time that I've been ahead of my time.
Yes.
And I had a revelation the other day that I feel like, you know, we have a number put on us yearly when we were born. Like we were born year, we were 1, and then 2, and so on and so forth. But I believe that our souls can be, I believe that our souls are ancient. And so I think that just because you might have lived on the earth longer than me doesn't mean that your soul is older than mine. And so how could I be ahead of my time with someone who's much older than me, right? Because my soul is probably, this is just a theory.
Right. And your soul has had
that
all
my
those
soul
lessons.
is probably much more. Absolutely. It's already done these things. And so, I'll bring it all the way to now where I trust, because I wasn't always trusting about my intuition, because, you know, sometimes something that I know, it also can change. Doesn't mean that what I felt at that moment and where things were at that moment weren't true. But the person who I might felt this premonition about, they also have the opportunity to choose. So I made a decision. I'll give a good example and then we can move on.
Okay.
My friend made a decision today that she shared with me, a good friend of mine, and I didn't feel in my spirit that it was a good choice.
Okay.
And I said to her, I respect your journey. I respect your decision, but it doesn't feel right to me. I feel like it's going to be a mistake. I said, but this is your journey. You have to take this journey alone. If it is a mistake, this is a mistake you have to make on your own. But I would not be your friend if I don't do what I feel. And I don't have to say anything else about it.
Right. Can I add to that? Without giving too many details away, you did that to me today. I was questioning something that I was gonna, a medication I was gonna take, and I was questioning the validity of all that. And without missing a beat, you added in, because that's what you do. You're my sister, and I need you for this reason, because obviously I do need it. But you said it to me in a way where it wasn't like a condemnation or anything like that coming down to me. You were like, well, Briscoe, it does sound like, yeah, take that medication. And you said it in a way where it was very, like we're laughing about it. And I need that to laugh about it. I need that to say, yeah, but by the way, get your ass on them pills. Take that, because the doctor is there for you and you are hearing, and you're right. And you're absolutely right, because I don't know. I mean, I know me, but I don't know what's my personality and what's the mental illness. And And it could be a little bit of both, mixing it together. We gotta bring them down here. So you're always doing stuff like that. Me living here with you has changed my life. Sometimes very uncomfortable for me. I'm sure, first of all, for you, because you're a grown-ass woman, you need some old-ass man in here teaching him lessons. I know that wasn't your life in your book of your life. You don't say, "See, I'm gonna get this 60-year-old man. I'm gonna have to teach him." No, but since I'm already here now, and you made it very clear, though, to be honest, because this is real talk, that the love is always gonna be there. But if I wasn't gonna help myself to a certain point, especially things that I was doing, like stupid things like drinking that I don't really need, things like that, then our friendship is going to go to a different place. Like, I won't live in here no more, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but it was tough love said with the hammer down, but with truth. You weren't trying to be an asshole. You were being very blunt and truthful, and letting me stuff that I didn't know, that I didn't see. So that's important. A lot of times, like you said, people don't see themselves, and it takes someone like that, especially someone like you who's intuitive and doesn't do it in a way that's derogatory, even though you might have to cuss somebody out and let them know, "Hey, simmer down." But then again, it's coming from the Garland place. We're like, "Oh, girl, I got her to that point. I better listen," you know. But I noticed, well, you should put a shingle up on your door. You are, because you are a psychiatrist without going to school, because you really not. I'm not just trying to blow your horn, and I know I'm on a roll, but I am so impressed by you. I always have been, but it seems like I think you have found your calling. You are such a great motivational speaker. You really are. You hit it on the head, and then sometimes you bring things to people that they don't even realize, "Oh wow, she said it in such a way that it's not negative, even though it might be something that they need to work on." So I just wanted to say thank you for doing that, because I know, like I said, a lot of people walk out of here looking cute and happy. So yeah, it's amazing. How you do that for?
You got me up here about getting teary-eyed.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
this is real talk.
It is real talk.
Real talk. When you really doing real talk, it will.
It does.
That you can. It's bringing tears to my eyes, because it's difficult when you live in a world that promotes lies.
Oh my God.
And false advertisement and clickbait. Nudity, and all of those things that not that I believe that nothing is wrong unless it feels wrong to you.
Right.
But for me, it's difficult to come from a place of truth, of my own truth, be fully aware of, and mostly my in what I give of myself. I have only really felt the need and uninhibited about offering my gifts to the people who are in my inner circle. That has been, for me, the easiest, because at that point, because I'm like, I love you, and so I don't care how mad and how uncomfortable it makes you with me, but I know that I know. I know that I know for sure when it's people who are in my ear.
That right there.
And so it's like, for me, I'm like, it doesn't matter to me at this point whether or not it's going to upset you, because I know that eventually if you don't see it now, you'll see it later. And so I've been true to that. And so when I hear you say those things, it brings tears to my eyes, because not everyone understands me into that capacity. And so I have to just tell everyone who's listening and who's made it this far, that Briscoe is also very intuitive and perspective, and is introspective about things and perceptive about things. And so I have to remind him sometimes, like, to listen to his own intuition.
Right.
Because I believe we all have that. We often, because no one's helped us cultivate anything. You know, we've had generational patterns passed down to us that, you know, that was given to our grandparents, and our grandparents gave it to our parents, and our parents gave it to us. And everybody was doing the same thing,
right.
Living in fear, living with scarcity mindsets, living with
secrets.
We're living with secrets.
Ooh, those are the ones that kill.
Absolutely. Anything that was going to hinder our spiritual progression was handed down to us, right?
Yes.
And so, and it's global.
Yeah,
it's global, and so it's kept us from being able to fully flourish.
Right.
And it's made us, it's stunted our growth as spirit beings having human experience. And so I thank you for always, even though sometimes you work on my nerves.
Oh, I know. I'm trying my best.
And I know that. Don't be sorry, because you're just being you.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that. And I don't ever want to make you feel like you can't be you.
Oh,
but
you don't. No.
Something you said that makes me know even more how intuitive you are, and it is right. Like I wasn't thinking that at first, but I actually recently came to that idea. I was like, okay, yeah, it is a little bit strange. You know, I am a woman living in a house with a man who's almost 60 years old, right? This is a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm 50, but at the same time, this is not like a likely situation.
No.
And it's not a situation that I probably would have ever thought, you know, unless we was having sex. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, no. I didn't think I have a roommate that's 60 years old either. 60, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But things happen, you know.
Well, of course, you also have a different view, and I honor that. You've been here longer than me too. You've been here on this earth, so you have an idea about who, you know, your patterns and who you are, and what might look or feel different or feel odd for you. I might not have caught on to that quite yet, right?
Okay,
But recently I did catch on to that. So that's what I'm saying. Your intuition and your perspective is honored by me, because I just recently thought that. Not that I was like having any kind of ill feelings towards you, but just like, at some point, right? It's just that at some point you kind of have these realizations that, you know, I like things to be quiet and you don't like quiet. Like, you know, you talk to yourself, you like to have noise. You told me recently, you said, oh, I feel like I need to make more noise when it's quiet.
Keep dropping shit,
and for me, like, I want more quiet.
This is my quiet room. I would drop my toothbrush in the toilet today trying to be cool. So yeah. So just do your thing, and then the quietness will come with the extra trying. But yeah, I'm like a little kid in that aspect.
And then it's like, you know, and I don't know if we ever shared with anyone, but there was something. We'll stick on the intuition thing. Was that my niece was supposed to actually be a roommate, and
Amber,
and I had to back out, and Briscoe wasn't in a likely or a situation that was. Briscoe was no longer in a situation that was working for him energetically, and so he was talking to me about this situation. And I remember, and I stopped him because he was like, "I need to find me another place, blah blah." And I stopped him. Now I was going through a breakup at the time, and I was like totally, a lot of times, like, I'm more clear when I'm in a fog. Weird. I was in a fog that day, and you were busy telling me about this roommate situation that was driving you nuts. And I remember saying, hold it. I said, don't do anything just yet. I said, I'm getting ready to be in a situation. I'm feeling that my niece is gonna back out. Literally that next week, my niece contacted me and said, I'm not ready to do it. And then I contacted Briscoe and said, you're in.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And so again, so at that moment, I was not, because like I said, I don't have all these traumas that block me from being able to see a need that someone has and not saying, oh, I don't want to live with some old man. And
right. You took a chance on me. And
right. All I saw was that there was a need. I saw there was a need. There was a deficit. I saw aggravation. I saw pain. And then in that, I thought, well, of course, you know, this guy would be able to flourish under a place in a place where it's more nurturing. And so there was absolutely not one reservation about me inviting you to come occupy space with me.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? It was so appreciated. We went through a rough spot, you know, trying to figure out everything and me and my growing pains and stuff. But I tell you, I don't know how this happened, but I landed in dreamland. When I, you know, even though everything's not perfect in our lives, you know, with all this stuff going, I feel free. And I'm becoming freer as time goes on because of the fact that I live with someone like you and the rest of our housemates. You know, I mean, we're all in under the same umbrella, LGBTQIA, whatever, and we're all going through our own journeys of growth. And we all have our moods. But yet it seemed for some reason, even with all the, you know, the ups and downs of living with someone else, we still seem to really like each other. You know, the love, you can love somebody and not like them. You know, I have big love for some people I just don't want to be around. You know what I'm saying? But yet, you know, things are working out. It's still, you know, like I said, we're going through our growing pains and whatever, but I wouldn't change it for a minute. Because my life has changed for the better. Just being in your orbit. I remember the first day I met you, it was just like, who is this person? I love her. And it was just immediate. And of course, you know, we grew through that and we started to find out the real people behind our picture, you know, our beautiful facades. We finally got to get to that point. And yeah, and I love the fact that you have no problem being I've always had this in my life. Strong women that are younger than me, but I seem like the younger person, the younger brother, and y'all are the older sisters, because women seem to mature a lot faster. And especially your story of being a trans woman, you have, I know it sounds corny trying to be all stupid and whatever, but I always say trans people are unicorns. They're so unique because they had the perspective that no one else besides a trans person has on this planet. Y'all know things, y'all can see the world completely differently than cis people, gay, straight, or whatever. You know, and I admire that so much, and I see your growth every day just by your business. Your business sense is unbelievable. I don't even know what's going on in your head. All I know is that poor Garland. I know I'm a big talker, and it took me a little while when she was working at the store. But when she got home and got to her own business, I started, thank God I got to a point where, simmer down. And then sometimes I will fall off, like the other day. One of her beautiful clients that comes all the time, I was like, monopolizing the work time. God didn't say nothing. All she said was, nice pants, like something like that. And I knew that. I was like, oh yeah, but this is business. It's not time to be flip-flop talking. But I also know that in between now time periods when you're doing the coloring, that would be a little time for me to jab in and say something. But no, I couldn't wait because my blah, blah, blah. But with Garland, she knows me so well. She's just a one word or a look and I get it. So because I know where you're coming from. Like Miguel does the same thing as well, but Miguel doesn't know how to do it as he doesn't have the woman. So I guess, I don't know, men listen to women more than they would listen to another man. I don't know what that is. I don't know why. But anyway, let me just stop talking because I want to get to this. I have a roommate who's an author. I know we spoke about this before, but her book is doing all kinds of stuff to people that are reading this right now. Shelley, I'm not to the point in the book where Shelley is, because actually it's been sitting on my shelf a little bit, but I have been reading, and believe me, I do read. Every time I talk to my ex-wife, best friend, Shelley, she talks about this. Oh, God is saying, I said, if you tell me one thing about this book, I'm going to yell at you because these lessons in this book are amazing. So what I want to ask you is, now it seems like you're doing your audio version of your book as well. So how is that going? And made you finally get to the point that you decided to put it down on tape and have you do it?
I tried to do this in like when the book was first published. Actually, I was living with someone else who was like I had recordings, equipment, and but she wasn't a professional,
Okay.
and somehow I don't know, we just couldn't get it. We couldn't get it done. So I did start this like some years ago, trying to put this in audio. And so now we live in this compound full of artists and creators. We have a studio below our apartment where CJ Kondo, he's on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes.
But I call him Cademan.
Yes.
And,
Cademan.
Recording studio, and we made an exchange. I said, hey, if you will engineer my audiobook, I'll sing whatever you need me to sing.
She can sing too.
And so I want to say something about that. We'll put a bookmark in it when I'm finished with this.
Okay.
But so Cademan actually helped me to start the progress, and we're almost done, like nearly through the book. There's been a couple of hiccups here and there, but like I'm so in the flow with the universe now that like this week when I was recording, it was very staticky. But by the time he got my text while I was in the studio, it was time for me to go to another appointment. So I didn't get to get any further. Okay. And so I was just kind of, it'll all come out. I'm shooting for spring of next year.
Oh, okay.
That and editing and all of this stuff. I was gonna betray myself and say it's not perfect, but it's as perfect can be.
Thank you.
One who's never done an audiobook and done it on. But I think that the power behind the words and my intent will be heard differently and will be received differently through this audiobook, as opposed to someone having actually the actual book in their hand. But I want to say something about, you said I can sing too. I was actually listening to this podcast that was absolutely incredible. And they said this guy was talking about dating. And so he was dating this woman, and then he decided he was going to break up with her. But when he called her to break up with her or whatever, or met her in person to break up with her, when he said, oh, you know what, I'm done with this relationship, I think we need to end this, he said that she agreed with him. She said, okay. She said, I think you're right. And so, of course, straight cis male, he was like, oh, she was breaking up with me already anyway. So like he felt some kind of way about that. Like she had already decided that this relationship was over.
Right.
So he said maybe like a year or two later, he said he contacted her and he asked her, why did you want to break up with me? And she said something that really brought him aback. She said, well, you were boring.
Oh, that's the worst.
And he was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Right. And so he said, okay, well, tell me more about this. She said, well, when I met you, you were on your grind. She said, and I really thought that was so attractive that you were, truly trying to, get your business going and you were making, much traction on that. Yeah, but that was all you were doing. She said, you weren't adventurous, you weren't spontaneous, you weren't, everything. When I was there, you was always on a phone call or you were sending messages or emails. She said, that only being a one note was not gonna sustain a relationship that he wanted. He said, it's the end. He was into his business and running his business and managing his business, and he was adventurous, and he was right. But he had only had thing, and he said that he had only built that muscle, that one muscle, and then he had nothing else. And so when you said like, oh, and she could sing, this podcast truly helped me to see what a catch that I am, right?
Absolutely.
Because I'm not
not at all.
I'm
not a Renaissance woman. A Renaissance woman. That's my friend.
When you're the one that the men say, oh, I shouldn't have let her go, or they can't get her out of their mind no matter what, it's because she's not a one note. Right. I cook.
I forgot about that too.
I can dance. I can write. I can do hair. You know, I can bake. I mean, that's 7 there. That's enough.
Preach. It's so true. 7 wonders of Garland. 7 wonders of Black girl magic. Then you work it. Now, no, but seriously, and one thing I must say, a lot of people have those things, they do this, but you do all of them well. That's a big difference. Because when you do, you pay attention to the details of that particular thing that you're doing at that particular time. Like, not like your friend here who needs a little bit of help of doing one thing at a time. Because if I try to mop the floor and wipe the wall at the same time, I'm not, so I'm like, no, put down the rag, mop the floor, then wipe the wall. I can't do them both. Nope. So, so people like you, I'll be like, oh, but yeah, it's so true. I love it. Like, you can open up your own hairstyle, restaurant, cabaret. But it's so true. So let me ask you this also. I know you told us before, but the title of your book. Nowadays, everybody's so politically correct, but I love the title of your book. And tell me how you got to that. I know it seems obvious to me, and also the picture is fabulous, Miss Josephine Baker-esque. But the title of the book, how did you come across that? I mean, how did you settle on that name?
I was thinking of the movie. I love the movie Memoirs of a Geisha. Such an amazing movie. For some reason, because I didn't know whether or not it was, what to call it. Was it a memoir? Was it a story? I don't know. Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Right.
So because of the movie, I settled on a memoir, and then I thought, how can I, do a play on words? And so I thought gay she, because in the middle or in my process of becoming who I am, I thought that, I was gay. But there was always this natural femininity and this natural she energy that was always coming from me. And so I thought if I mixed the two, me really actually transitioning from saying that I'm a gay male using the pronouns he, him, to now, accepting my journey as a trans woman and using the pronoun she. So this combination, thought, oh, I'll mix the both, right? Like, this is what I moved from gay, male to she, transgender.
It's so easy. That explanation is so easy. I mean, it's like, oh, I get it. It's perfect. And like you said, the Memoirs of a Geisha is one of the, it makes me cry every time. And I love B.D. Wong, who played in the film. So yeah, it's also special to me. So when I first realized that you wrote a book, and you don't put anybody down like, oh yeah, I just wasn't knowing what to expect at all from your. And wow, you really are a great writer. And one thing, you write where people can understand what you're saying and get the emotion of what you're saying. And I cannot wait to the audiobook, because I've heard from other people, they love the cadence of your voice. They love the tone. So I can just imagine what that's going to sound like reading your story out loud. And one thing Whoopi Goldberg says, on The View, there's nothing better than to listen to an audio book by the author. There's nothing better. So this is going to be another notch on your belt of perfection. You know what I mean? But our perfection. You know, you got it done, and it was from your. I mean, it's like I really admire writers. As an actor, I can't do my job if there's no script. So writers really, I have like a deep affinity for them, because y'all can take what's in your heart and your brain and put it down on some paper, and it becomes magic. So I cannot wait for everyone to hear and read. Now y'all still can get this on Amazon. Now look, we on Real Talk, and I'm telling y'all to go out there and spend your real money on this real book. This fucking, I can't cuss. It's really amazing. It's really good. And also you can look at this beautiful picture and see the chameleon that my roommate is. So is there anything else coming up for you besides your audiobook? And do you want to say anything else before we go off into the real world? Not the real world. I shouldn't even say that.
Just want to say that I'm in gratitude for having the opportunity to be on Real Talk again.
Oh, thank you.
I am in gratitude for all things to come to me. I feel like Clubhouse has been also, what it has done for me is help me to be able to articulate better when I speak, and to understand people better, and how to really let people know that in a different way that they are unique and that they're special, and that we all have qualities in us that we may not have not tapped into yet.
Right.
But grateful that there is a platform out there now where it is helping me to prepare to become, I'm a motivational speaker by intuition, and by,
right.
It's innate
second nature. Yeah.
Right, in my nature. But I have not yet made it to a place of like actually going to speak on platforms. Other than I did recently. I was on a panel for a hospital in Pasadena that was an experience. So I got to use my voice there, because they were talking about have more diversity in their hospital. And so they were a panel of people from the LGBTQ plus community. So that was like an amazing opportunity for me. And I realized that my voice actually needs and deserves to be heard.
Oh my gosh.
Opportunity to speak, even on a platform such as this, it creates a space and an opportunity for me to go further with what it is that I'm capable of doing. And so thank you for giving me the opportunity to shine my light on Real Talk again. And hopefully people will go back and see the first interview if they haven't, so that they can see the complete change and shift in my energy and who I am and what's happening. Understand that we all have this capability of changing our lives. We get to choose. And the only thing that stops ourselves, nobody else is holding us back but ourselves.
That's 100%. Thank you so much. And one thing I want to say about Clubhouse, you mentioned earlier that they have a button so you can speak. I think I'm gonna get me a button. I think I need that button. It's like, okay, Briscoe, you want to say something now? I can talk, because interrupting is like kind of my forte. But so I love the fact that they have that, so people can have that respect, not jumping in on each other, which is good. So Clubhouse, we're gonna put a little link up down here as well.
Yes.
Garland, I appreciate you being here. This is something I wanted to do. You are my first repeat guest, my first repeat artist spotlight, and I am so grateful to have you in my life. I'm so grateful you're here. The world is going to be so grateful. Y'all have this Memoirs of a Gay She by Miss Garland G. Guidry, Triple G, mother, as I call her. Thank you so much for being here. And y'all out there, if you have a dream in your heart and a plan, it's never too late. Can you dig it? Thank you. All right, we're going to sign out. And that's Miller. He said goodbye. All right, now, y'all have a great day.